The head of Destiny Church's Man Up program admits that there is zero independent proof that it works, but he says he'll open the door to outside scrutiny if it helps the course get into New Zealand prisons. Women's Refuge has raised concerns about the 15-week program that claims to heal men of drugs, alcohol and violence. Refuge's concerns include tutors' qualifications and what it describes as ugly and arrogant behaviour by church members. Destiny Church leader Brian Tamaki has warned of prison revolts and accused the Prime Minister and Corrections Minister of trying to politically gang rape him over his attempts to get the program into jails around the country. That's despite Man Up admitting it has never made a formal application. Program Director Kane Warren says he welcomes an independent audit.
We do an internal review every 15-week cycle, because the program's 15 weeks, so after every 15 weeks there's obviously an opportunity to review both the man's program and the woman's program, where they obviously can give us some feedback. They can also just briefly tick some boxes. We don't like it to be too intense, just around some key, say, performance indicators, whether it relates to drug addiction, domestic violence, and they can indicate to us if they've had a change,
right,
whether it be a lifestyle change or whether it's been, attitude shift.
So I understand that, but that's an internal subjective review. Yeah. So do you have any external independent data, longitudinal study over time that shows recidivism rates or proves that your program is actually working?
Yeah, so we don't actually have any independent studies of the Man Up program, but we have got.
So there's no proof that it's working, no independent proof as to whether it works or not.
No, but we'd like to invite the opportunity. I know it's being talked about. I know Calvin sort of has said that there's no evidence that the program works, but I don't want us sitting on the fence on that. I think we want to be open booked with what we do with Man Up. And if there is resource to actually look at the program as a first step to give an independent review of its worth, I'm just saying we're really open to that.
Okay, so today you're committing on this program to allowing access by independent reviewers to your program so that they can see whether in fact it's working or not.
I'd like to invite that, actually. We're very, very open about Man Up. Man Up is a real community program that a lot of community people are actually involved in. And I guess, that's again, Lisa, is an opportunity for Calvin, rather than saying...
You mean Calvin Davis? When you refer to Calvin Davis, you're talking about the Corrections Minister?
Correction Minister Calvin Davis. I'm just referring to him and saying that it would be nice not to just get the shut door and ignored, but just to say, look, we'd like you to review this program. We really feel this has been developed by Māori for Māori, and I think it has some worth. We understand it has worth in the community. We'd love to prove that, as you say, but we'd also like to explore the opportunity to actually be involved in our prison system to assist with the high numbers of Māori incarceration.
Okay, well, let's look a little bit more at the program and some of, the theory behind it. I'm just wondering, do some women need to take responsibility for provoking violence from men?
No, I think I know what you're referring to in regards to...
so that's a categorical no.
In the Man Up.
Kane, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to be very clear about this. So, no, there is never a circumstance where the woman needs to take responsibility for the man meting out violence.
Absolutely not, Lisa.
Okay, so why would some of your tutors say that?
No, it's one instance, and I was listening to your talkback with Dr. Ange Drury yesterday, and she says there's a few, but there is definitely one that we have, that was identified, and then we took responsibility for following up on this individual, and have basically been in front of him, confronted him, and let him know that his behaviour, his attitude, the words that he used, we see that as just as worse as violence. The words that he put together towards another woman and attacked her online like that.
So those words...
Completely out of order, Lisa.
Okay, so Kane, those words were saying that the woman was responsible for the man hitting her,
yeah,
in essence.
That's nothing that we teach at all, Lisa.
Okay, is this man still a tutor for the Man Up program?
No, absolutely not. Not a tutor, but back involved as a participant. So...
How do you screen those people?
Yeah, well, they're citizens. I think the thing is with the Man Up program, it's actually a whole new approach. It may insult the intelligence of a lot of people, thinking, well, what qualifications do facilitators actually have? Well, these are two things that they do have, and we support them with that. They have life experience. And that's the key. That's the key. I think why Man Up is working, because you've got people that have obviously been through.
So life experience, but not necessarily any qualifications for counselling. And this is what Women's Refuge is concerned about.
Life experience.
Yeah.
And also, we provide training too. The Man Up organisation provides facilitation training, basic training we call it, on a weekly basis to train our facilitators to run successful meetings and gatherings.
So what are your qualifications to train the trainers?
Life experience, Lisa.
Anything else?
Oh, first aid certificate.
Anything else?
And 20 years of living a really good life and being a good example, I guess, as a husband, as a father to my wife and children.
So do you know that your tutors are safe? Do you screen them for past violence in their lives, which are some of the issues that Women's Refuge are raising about your program? So how do you vet tutors?
Yeah, well, a lot of them have already been vetted. A lot of them have criminal backgrounds. Let's be honest and be real here, and they obviously have coming through the Man Up program, and we basically take them on their experience in Man Up, and giving them an opportunity. And I guess the thing is that... So
you don't vet them, that's what you're saying. How do you know that they're safe to be taking
it's not
these...
a loose organisation, and I don't think, we're not a loose organisation by no means. But we give people the opportunity, Lisa. People that have maybe, for example, like Tuko on the breakfast show this morning, Tuko Korpu, 30 years in prison. Now, he wouldn't qualify to get maybe a job at the Te Oranga Tamariki, because of his criminal background. But if it's just the qualification to have a conversation with men, tell me then, what qualification do you actually need to have a conversation with men?
Do you reject violence in all forms?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Violence in all forms, yep.
So do you reject the words of Brian Tamaki when he calls for a revolt in prisons? And do you reject his words when he accuses Jacinda Ardern and Calvin Davis of political gang rape?
Look, I don't reject his motivation and his passion and desire.
You say you reject violence in all forms. It's a simple question.
And well, I'm answering it this way, Lisa. And the fact that he has a heart and a desire to see our people, that's Māori particularly, do better and have more. And that really is the passion spot with Bishop Brian Tamaki.
So does that justify violent words then?
Well, I've just answered it for you. He's passionate. He's very much focused on helping Māori do better and have more in life.
So you agree with him then? You agree with those words?
No, you're putting words into my mouth. I agree with his desire.
No, I'm just trying to be clear. I'm just trying to be clear.
Yeah, well, that's my answer. I've given you an answer to that, Lisa.
Well,
I agree with his passion and desire to see Māori people do well and have more.
With the greatest of respect, you have not answered. You haven't answered my question, Kane.
With the rejection that we get often, we put formal letters out to invite ministers to be a part of hui's with plenty of notice and automated replies of unavailable. We're doing our part, Lisa, to actually reach out to our current government to.
Okay, I get all of that. You've explained it.
Help others.
Here is my simple question. You say you reject violence in all forms. Do you reject those words which Women's Refuge have described as violent and downright ugly from Brian Tamaki? Do you reject those words or not?
Look, I've already explained it to you. I mean, what you're trying to get out of me is you're trying to get me to throw someone that I respect and love and throw them under the bus. Now, listen to this.
I'm after a straight answer.
He is a loving man, a generous man. And I just say, I put it like this: how can a good tree produce bad fruit? I mean, what I'm hearing, no one agrees with his style or the way that he does things. At the end of the day, the man is producing good fruit. He's making a difference and transforming and changing people's lives. And where it matters too, and like the too hard basket of men that are, as we have talked about, violent, they're damaged, they're broken, they're afraid and worried, and they've hit rock bottom. Who's reaching out to them? Well, I'll tell you who's reaching out to them. Bishop Brian Tamaki, Man Up to Tangata program, is reaching out to our brothers and our sisters.
And that was Kane Warren, who is, the head of the Man Up program.